Welcome back, everybody. Dave, XRPLion, and boy, are you in for a treat today. This is something I had started to work on months ago, and the Lord had me put it aside. And, I wasn't sure if this was actually going to happen. And here we are. He's decided to pull it back up. He wanted me to finish it today, so we went ahead and got it all finished for everybody. And I just have to tell you the importance of these humanitarian initiative trusts going through the Redemption Center, and that's why we're doing this. Everybody in their heart has something they want to do for humanity, and this is what is so crucial. Charlie Ward indicated to expect at least $1 million for anybody submitting their humanitarian initiative trust. That's why I did this. That's why I spent over 120 hours just on the documents alone, plus the time spent for the instructional videos, which there are two. There's a 10-minute intro, gives you a quick down and dirty look at how this all works, and then there is a full-blown instructional video. Now, think of this as the in-between. This is going to give you the visual so you understand the steps, okay? And it's very, very simple. 99% of this is done. And when I say 99%, I mean 99%. You don't change the format, you don't change pictures, you don't change layout, you don't change anything other than what I'm about ready to go over right now. But here's the good news. You stay diligent and faithful with this, and you show them you know how to follow instructions. Because this is basically what this is. This is a test to see if you can follow instructions. This is already pre-approved. You change it, you change the odds of acceptance. And I'm just going to call it like that. Okay? You have the possibility with due diligence, meeting the requirements, to have from $1 million up to $8 billion opened up to you. Where are you going to find this anyplace else? $8 billion. And I feel privileged and honored to be able to present this to you, having worked very, very hard to make sure that everything was covered exactly the way it was already pre-approved by Ben Carson, okay? Why is this so important? Because if you show up at the Redemption Center with your Zim bond or bonds for exchange, if you don't have this humanitarian initiative trust template completed, 90% of what you would have received for your Zim bonds is going to go to the national programs, not you. Now, if your whole goal is to just walk away with 10 to 20%, 5 to 20%, then that's fine. But think of all the opportunity you're leaving on the table. All that God could have done through you had you just taken the time, less than an hour, to complete this. And I want you to really think about that. I want you to spend tonight and tomorrow just leaning into the Lord, pressing into the Lord, and just praising Him and thanking Him for having done everything already concerning you and your future and your finances. This is your legacy, my friend. This is a legacy that goes out for the next 200 years. And why do I say 200 years? Because with the healing technologies that are coming forth, you have the ability to live for another 200 years. And you saw my post on the rapture. And it confirmed everything that I had already reported well over a year ago. God's intention for the rapture was not to rapture Christians to heaven, but to get evil to hell. Because unless evil was in hell and it was locked up, there would never be a way to have a spotless bride. Think about that. Think about how easy it was to convince Christians, those that believe in the Lord, that they had to go to heaven first. They had to check out. It's just a lie from the pit of hell. And I knew that a long time ago. And that's why I'm fighting for you guys. So I'm fighting for you with regards to this humanitarian initiative trust. We can't move forward, and God already knew this, without resources. And He made sure all the resources were there for this to happen. The ability for you to acquire Zim bonds, and you just saw my post on that, Dong, Dinar, etc. So why not? Why would you choose to let this opportunity go when your entire life you've been waiting for opportunity from the Lord? I challenge you right now to step up. Challenge you to take a hold of your future. If not for you, for your children, your children's children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. This just gives you a little bit of information about this trust, this template, and what's taken place and how we put it together. And it's for those with the Zim. And I just want to keep it that way, okay? When I say it's for the people with the Zim, that doesn't exclude the people with just this filled out, without any Zim, without any dinar, without any dong. You're not excluded, okay? You're not excluded. Listen to my words. You are not excluded. But this is about trying to complete the form, complete the template, okay? So I'm going to move rather quickly because this is just covering the template itself in a very nonsensical way. Okay. Humanitarian Initiative Trust. We call it HIT. It's the template. This is the ultimate number one template for humanitarian desires. And I know every one of you have something in your heart that you want to do. And if it wasn't about money, you'd make it happen in a heartbeat. This is the basic outlook, or what it looks like. There's version 2, which is the one that's up on the website now. This was just a prettier version I did for illustration purposes only. Okay. Here's an organizational chart for the template. So we have the basic template itself. We have page 1, which covers initiatives 1 through 3. Page 2 covers initiatives 4 through 6. And then we have the actual worksheets or pages themselves. Page 3 is a contact sheet. Page 4, notary sheet. Page 5, three paragraph narrative. Cancel that. Page 6, a statement of experience. And page 7, your 30, 60, and 90-day needs. And then lastly, how do you present it? You put it into a 3-hole clear front portfolio folder, which you can get at Staples. And you're going to need more than one copy, so just buy the whole pack. Okay, here's our 7 pages. Page 1, 2, 3 across the top, 4, 5, 6, and 7 across the bottom. And here's a very, very simple narrative. You're going to create your 5 or 6 words or less name for your trust. You're going to create at least one initiative, because you can use the standard initiatives that are already there. You're going to copy and paste your name, address, telephone number, and email on all pages right down here in that bottom right-hand corner. Okay? This is how they're going to be able to reach out and contact you. On page 3, you're going to type your full name right here. You're going to enter your collaborators. Now, what is this? This is the place where you get the exclusion to the non-disclosure agreement during that first 90 days. This enables you to talk to these people about your humanitarian initiative projects. These could be people that you're going to be working directly with. So you're going to list their name down here under Humanitarian Project Collaborators. Here's how you put in a spouse. This is where you're going to put in your legal name. And this is where your Redemption Center guide is going to put their full name, signature, and the date that you're at the Redemption Center. Page 4, down here. This is your notarization page. They're only going to be notarizing your signature up here. They're not notarizing the Redemption Center guide. So just make them aware of that. And there may be a special requirement that they have to attach to this, and they can go ahead and just add that. But it's just for you. Okay? Page 5, this page right here, this is where you're going to complete your 3-paragraph narrative. And your first paragraph is, what does my humanitarian initiative do? My humanitarian projects help provide blank. And you're going to fill that in. Why is it important? My humanitarian project makes it possible for, fill it in. How will this happen? My humanitarian project will need funding to purchase furniture, office buildings, vehicles, etc. So this is kind of where you briefly talk about your funding, This is where you talk about why it's important, and this is where you talk about what it does. Okay? Keep it simple. This is what you're going to be going over with the guide somewhere around station number 9, where you're going to give somewhere between a 3 to 5 minute narrative. And this is the part where I talked about you're going to practice, 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 perfect practice. So it's in your heart. So by the time you're walking through the door, you're going to be beaming your humanitarian project. And they will already know your desire because it's in your heart, right? And the word says God gives us the desires of our heart. Over here, you're going to make a brief summary of any work experience or education. Don't go into any great detail. This isn't for a resume. This is just to cover the highlights. You went to junior college, you went to college, you went to vocational school, any special skills that you have. You got your CPA, you got your law degree, anything. Then you're going to list your work experience and any noteworthy achievements. And then down here, you're going to list any additional skills. It could be proficiency in social media. It could be proficiency in marketing, anything along that line, just to show that you have done other things than sit in the basement and play video games. And then lastly, you're going to provide a rough estimate. And when I say rough, I mean rough, of what you imagine your 30, 60, and 90-day expenditures could be. And I can't really go into much detail with regards to that. But when you talk about how it's going to happen down here and your funding needs, just think of it up here. Okay? They're trying to get some idea of how much money you're going to need during the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. So here's step 1. You're going to create the name for your individual initiative trust. You're going to create a short narrative in here describing what your project will do. Make sure to keep each with plenty of air for flexibility to allow for expansion within your narrative. And you can read the other initiatives that are there to get some idea. Remember, we're not trying to get so finite that we have no room to move. You want your initiative to be so airy that it has flexibility to go in many, many different directions. An example I always like to use, you wouldn't say, I want to save all the red-bellied sunfish in the Omaha River. You would say, I'm going to research, fund, develop, and partner. And you're always going to leave these words right here at the top. You're going to start with that. So, to research, fund, develop, partner with other local and regional and state water authorities for rescuing, stocking, breeding, and a variety of for a variety of fresh and saltwater fish. You can do just about anything you would desire with regards to fish with that initiative. And that's what you want to think about. You want it to be airy. And it should just flow, okay? You're not going to change any of these pictures. You're not going to change any of these color boxes. You're not going to change anything that's already laid out. The only things that you're changing are the name of your initiative trust, the wording for your initiative, the date, and the address information in the bottom right-hand corner. That's it. That's why this is 99% done. Okay? Now you will have to transfer the name of the trust to all of your pages, so that's basically copy and paste. And you'll need to transfer over your contact information because they have to be able to reach you. Okay? So let's look at your step 1. And this is the most difficult for people. You have to come up with a name for your trust. The first word has to be quantum. That's why in these 3 examples, I made it in blue. And the last word has to be trust. Quantum, trust. Now you can have up to 6 words, but the more words that you have, the higher the probability that somebody already hasn't selected that name. Is that making sense? So between 5 and 6 is going to be your optimum. Now, with regards to the word initiative, it has to be in there too. So you have 3 words that have to be in there: quantum, trust, and initiative. Now, initiative can be the 2nd word, the 3rd word, the 4th word, or the 5th word. And in my examples, in my first example, quantum, crystal, sunshine, initiative, trust, it was 5 words. Initiative was the 2nd to last word. Quantum was the 1st, trust was the last. In example 2, quantum, humanitarian, benefit, initiative, blessing, trust. 6 words. Initiative is the 4th word. First word is quantum, last word is trust. Example 3, the Quantum Initiative Global Humanitarian Trust. 5 words. First word quantum, last word trust, 2nd word initiative. Now don't use any of these, okay? There's going to be 100,000 people that see this video or more. And we don't want people having the same name for the trust. So don't pick this. Don't pick any of these 3, okay? Just to be safe. But this is to give you an example of the placement and what the order is, okay? So again, first word quantum, last word trust. You have to have the word initiative in there, and it can be the 2nd word or the 3rd word or the 4th word or the 5th word. And you're going to copy and paste your title or your header onto each individual page. Okay? So I'm back up here real quick. So up here, you're going to do it on page 1. I would do it on page 1. And then come to page 2, delete, copy, paste. Delete, copy, paste. Delete, copy, paste. And you're going to do this so every single one of them is going to have the same name at the top. Okay? Okay, then you're going to go into your initiative. And I talked about your initiative. Technically, these 2 are already done. This one is actually done as well. So pick one that has no interest for you and use that window or that space to put in your initiative trust. Now, if you have 5 initiative trusts, be careful with the mindset of removing everything that's there. You might be able to combine 2 of them into 1, and that way you only replace 2. But again, it's to give you flexibility, because down the road, you're going to run into people that have initiatives that people want to become part of. Just think about that, okay? So again, you're changing the title, and you're working on a couple of these initiatives to change them. That's it. Date, contact information. Okay. Pages 1 through 7. Change the date on each page. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Real simple. Then you're going to go to the first page and you're going to put in your name and address, telephone number, and email. That's so they can contact you if they have questions. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste on all 7 pages. See how easy this is, how fast? This is page 3 where you're going to put in your name. You're going to put down your collaborators, those people that you want to be able to speak with. Now, be careful if you're putting people down here that have no idea what you're doing. And the reason I say that is because you don't want to put them down just so you can go tell them what you're doing. because they need to have your name on their humanitarian initiative trust as well. So if they don't have one, don't put them down here. Just write out the 90 days. Remember, this isn't about telling people what you're doing initially. The Lord has asked that we lean into Him for guidance and instruction. So this isn't a race. 200 years. This is a journey. Okay? And one of the things I've suggested is just go on vacation for 90 days. Take a break. Lean into the Lord. You're not going to miss anything because you didn't get started right away. It's more important to understand what the Lord wants you to do because He's your partner. That's why He is doing all this, to work with you. Notary. We talked about notary. This is going to be the notary for your signature on the prior page, on page 3. It's not for your Redemption Center guide. Your 3-paragraph narrative. Just going to fill it out. Very, very simple. What are your projects all about? What are they designed to do? Why are they important? And how is this going to happen? And again, there's a whole lot more depth in the instructional videos. I'm just covering the sections and the highlights so you can see it up close and personal. Section 6 covers your work experience. Again, it's not a resume. Just keep it simple and covering the main thing. When it comes to completing the 30, 60, 90-day expenditures, remember, keep it brief and use the KISS principle. Keep it super simple. And it's okay to say it could be in the range of X. Why? Because you're going to need to do certain things right up front. And if you don't think you're going to be doing anything in the first 30 days, just say it will depend upon the initial start based upon the non-disclosure. So non-disclosure actually gives you a way out from starting. Here's your clear poly portfolio folder. Has a clear cover on it. We all know what this is, and underneath there are the 3 punched holes. Then there's enough room in the setup to provide for that. You're going to make 2 to 3 copies. You're going to take all 3 copies with you because remember the guide has to sign on page 3, and so do you. So you're going to leave them with at least 1 copy. You're taking 3, so in case they want 2, you can leave them with 2. And then here's where you find it. If you go to my Twitter page, my profile page, at XRPLion, L, little I, little O, little N, numeral 1, this is what my profile page looks like at the top. And you're going to want to make sure that it says XRP, capital L, little I, little O, little N, numeral 1. And it has the Twitter or X verification check mark right here. I have a lot of imitators, I have a lot of scammers, and I want to make sure that you're getting it from the right person. And this is everything that's on my page as of today. And this is the post. It's right at the top. It's pinned at the top. And when you click show more, it opens up and it gives you the link to the 10-minute instructional introduction video. It gives you the link to the template. And it gives you the link to the instructional full instructional video. Now, just understand the copy that's attached on this page does not look like this. It's a little simpler. Tried to simplify it. Okay? But this is what it looks like. This is where you're going to go and get it. And I wouldn't dilly-dally. I would get this thing done if you haven't gotten it done. You want to get it done like yesterday. Take the 15 minutes and get it done. Get it printed off. Get your copies made. You can actually send the file to Kinko's. I'm sorry, not Kinko's. You can send it to Kinko's. You can send it to Staples. And you can pick the paper. You can take it in on a key. And they can show you the paper that they have. And they can print those things off in color within minutes. And you're done. And that should do it. That's the end of our presentation. So I hope this was helpful. And remember, we're doing this for humanity. This isn't for ourselves. This is Dave XRPLion. God bless. See you soon.